I haven't been doing much recently with these videos because I've been trying to put my energy into completing a book which has been hanging over me for years. And but what's happened meanwhile is the Brexit vote. Now, far away in South Africa, I hadn't really taken much notice of the Brexit business because I sort of assumed that we'd probably stay in the Union. And so the result was quite a surprise to me. And I thought I'd add a section to my book about how, having read various recent news articles about it, how it might relate to the things I've written about in the book. So I thought I'd try this out on you. I don't know how wrong I am from far away, but anyway, here's the section that I wrote in the book. I'm just going to read it out. In this chapter, I've drawn parallels between current times and the centuries of the Roman Empire. In a sense, one might see the European Union as an attempt to reconstruct the Roman Empire, except that the latter survived for 5 centuries, while some are questioning whether the new Europe is going to survive much more than 5 decades. The common notion is that the Roman Empire fell because the tribes it united were too stupid or disorganized to maintain its structures. But I refer to the alternative theory, that it fell because the common people actually did not like an empire that taxed the poor so heavily for the benefit of the wealthy few. Some commentators seem to be suggesting that similar doubts helped to support the Brexit vote. This is a pity. Although I'm one of those people who accept the label English rather than British when I fill in forms, I also see myself as a European. I choose English rather than British because it's a label that most people think suits me, even though I am half Scottish. Though not greatly travelled, I have not been to any European country that has failed to delight me. Even in a few cases, when I do find the natives of another European country irritating, I still kind of dig them. Yes, I love Europe. Not only do I believe that the majority of UK citizens also love Europe, they were also fed mountains of very wise advice from distinguished experts as to why they should vote to remain in the Union, and why it would be a disaster to leave it. This, it occurs to me, might have been part of the problem. Consider what was said in chapter 6 about the common man, enthralled... Oh dear, I've lost a bit. The common man enthralled by mere shadows on the wall of a cave, whereas the wise Platonist understands the higher objective truth that is casting those shadows. And that bit said something similar to the video I made about Platonism. This idea was dominant for centuries across the classical Greek Empire. Then, in section 16.4, I suggested it lost ground during the Roman centuries. People lost faith in the authority of experts. They turned back to those shadows and subjective, magical thinking. I explained that the Platonist has a natural advantage of superior knowledge. You may think that working with crystals or a good tarot reading has brought you healing, but the Platonist can explain this is simply the devil, or your own brain, deceiving you. You may be riding the comet's tail of a glorious love affair, but an expert will explain it away in terms of emotional projection. Another expert will say it is simply a mechanism to improve genetic survival, whereas a third expert can dismiss both those explanations as woolly pseudoscience by showing that it's actually caused by hormonal activity in the body. Your life could be transformed by watching a great movie. One expert can point out it is simply a made-up story being acted out against a backdrop of special effects, until another expert points out the real truth, that the whole experience was simply decompressed from a set of binary digits on a DVD disc. Put in those terms, it is easy to understand why the common people eventually lost their respect for the Platonic experts and turned back to their subjective shadows that retained so much more meaning and value than the explanations behind them. Now, I have heard it suggested that something similar might have happened with the Brexit vote, especially in the relatively impoverished and underemployed north of England. While the experts were giving excellent advice on the advantages to the British economy from staying in Europe, many ordinary folk were looking around them, not feeling that they had benefited much from the economy so far, and concerned that new people were arriving in their locality faster than they could get to know and befriend them. So they turned against the experts and their wisdom. As such, it seems a perverse but maybe understandable reaction. Perverse because it meant rejecting an intelligent plan to build a strong European Union. But had not other experts been for years arguing against intelligent design and purpose in our universe? Have we not been told that the creator and driver has always been chance, not design? So is there not a certain reason in turning back to our creator and invoking chance in times of crisis? If our existence is but a gamble, why not gamble our way onward? So let us shuffle the tarot pack and hope to be dealt a better hand next time. Let us vote to leave and see what happens. It has been suggested that those who voted for Brexit felt something of that impulse. If so, it does sound a warning. There is a distinction between understanding the magical path and making and owning conscious decisions based upon it, versus becoming an unwitting victim of other people's magic. I will return to this theme in the following chapter. One last point. If the European Union does fall apart, why was the Roman Empire able to survive so much longer? It could be because the system of values at the time of the Roman Empire was religious, as I suggested in section 16.5, whereas our values are now increasingly based on scientific criteria. Whereas the Roman Empire had the advantage of style and glamour, it was a union that one aspired to associate with. Today's unions need to meet the more scientific criteria of measurable performance. We increasingly ask for proven benefits rather than grand rhetoric when making important choices. I believe the European Union can demonstrate those benefits, but it needs to do so very clearly and repeatably in order to retain our support. That's what I put, and I wonder if I'm on the right lines. So I'm trying this out on you. Thank you.